Namaste, Jai Bharat. This Muhammad Yunus, the advisor of Bangladesh, had gone to China and implied or implicitly or even explicitly, we don't know, went to China and invited them to come to Bangladesh through making some routes, by taking through the northeast of Bharat, by getting control of northeast of Bharat. He gave his own rationale to it, of course, which is foolish. He also knows, China also knows, all of us knows. But he did that. He went to China and very deceitfully invited China to come to Bangladesh to function there. And China, of course, is a better deceiver, so they understand how deceitful this Muhammad Yunus is. But then he did that. Now, when the Congress was ruling Bharat, Rahul had gone to China. Yunus had signed several MoUs with China recently, signed many agreements with China recently, very recently. And Rahul, when Congress was ruling, had gone to China and signed some memorandum of understanding. Of course, he did not sign an MoU between the government of Bharat and government of China, between his party and their Chinese Communist Party. They are in rule here those days, and Chinese Communist Party obviously is China. So, though technically it's not agreement between two nations, it is practically understanding between two nations. Now, what precisely he has signed, the details of the MoU, in spite of the subsequent BJP governments asking him, they fell in deaf ear. They never responded. They never spoke anything. They never indicated anything. And immediately after signing such an MoU, it's the Congress ruled early those days. BJP had not come into power. Maybe the first Congress rule or second Congress rule, I don't remember. But that time. With that, the Bharat's trade deficit with China has gone so high. It was only $2 billion or billion US dollars till that time. After signing the MoU, literally China was dumping their waste products in Bharat and acted in Bharat as though the nation has got them in dowry. They had their way. Our economy was destroyed so badly. Now, similar is the situation in Bangladesh. Yunus wants to remain in power, continue in power, no matter what happens to his people, no matter what happens to his nation. And this man, maybe right from KG onwards, kindergarten onwards, people must have told him that you are the next future Prime Minister of Bharat. You shall be. Because that's what's happening in their party, Congress, but it's hereditary. Father, son, we know. I don't know how to speak all those things. So this person is now eligible as per the family trait. So he should become Prime Minister of Bharat, and such a faith belief was given to him that he should become Prime Minister of Bharat. So he was right from lower KG. He must have been preparing himself mentally to become Prime Minister, not preparing, wanting. Preparation means something else. To become Prime Minister of Bharat. And he goes to this, typically like Muhammad Yunus. He doesn't care what happens to the nation. He doesn't care what happens to the people of this nation. He doesn't care about the economic structure getting collapsed in Bharat. All that he cares is that he wants us to sit on the chair. And desperately though, as day goes on, his desperation is becoming worse. He is utterly desperate to become Prime Minister. Nothing short of that. This is a situation which has a corollary in Bangladesh running today. Similar thing he was doing. Now these people, look out, in the Congress fundamentally are not very nationalist, though they speak of nationalism, because the Congress itself was founded by not a Bharatiya, founded by a British officer, Octavian Hume. I don't know. There were great people in the Congress who were hard nationalists. Sri Aurobindo, for instance. But then he left Congress. Netaji. They were, with all the enthusiasm and hope of the Bharatiyatva and Bharatiya Sanskrit, they started working for Congress, and many of them were disappointed, and many of them left and ceased to function. Look at Sardar Patel. Patel is Maratha title. Look at Sardar Patel. He was coerced and compelled and reduced to the deputy prime minister kind of thing, and this was not permitted by them to function in a way which he wanted to function. Nonetheless, he contributed great. He has united this nation. After building Somnath temple, the first thing he did was to rebuild Somnath temple. That's how a Hindu should behave. And united Bharat, that's how a nationalist should behave. He's taught us that. But then he didn't have time. He had to join Vishnupada, and he had to leave us. And they ignored him. And the way they had treated his daughter, when she went to Delhi he was treasurer also Congress party because he was in steel. She went to return the money to Nehru. How he treated her, I need not to tell. It's there in history books. So this person is desperate, wants to become Prime Minister of Bharat because he had been dreaming about it. There is no question whether he is eligible, entitled or not, just because his father, father's mother, her father, etc., thinks that this nation belongs to them and is for them to rule. This man, of course, basically is dumbhead, behaves like that. Subramanian Swamy called him Papu, I think rightly. Though initially I thought that's too much of a terminology, but then it gets exposed, gets demonstrated through time. Otherwise, why don't they tell what was in the MoU? It's all fell into deaf ear. They never bothered to tell anything. They keep quiet, they don't speak because they know that the best thing they can do is not to mention that. If you mention, what comes out of it, nobody knows. So this is a situation that the rule had done, and they've destroyed the economic part. China had a free hand during their regime. To the extent of saying that help me to become Prime Minister, going and telling others. Many narratives I heard, need not repeat. Their YouTube is full of this. So we shall meet again with some other thought. Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.